What the fuck is up, motherfuckers? We are back. It's myself, BJJ Frank the Tank, joined today by legend of U.U.C. among other things, Mr. Pimp Daddy.
Yes, sir. What's happening, guys? We're excited to be here. We got some exciting things to talk about, Frank.
Yeah, man. There's been a lot's happened, and there's even more lots that's getting ready to happen, man.
Oh yeah, I think UUC 55 is gonna be the most anticipated, at least from the standpoint of long term engagement and participation in the event for the Shoney Carter Invitational #3. And man, we did them brackets the other day, Frank. I was in that VC and we got this little bracket image up for everybody, and infantry helped me out with that, and then
Yeah,
we spun that wheel, and man, these matchups are crazy.
yeah. I wish I could have been around when you guys were actually doing the damn thing with the picks and stuff, but better late than never. But I've actually got that pulled up on the screen right now for everybody, so we can talk about it collectively together. And damn, the this is going to be a big tournament. So the last two Shooting Corner Invitationals we've done, I guess we should probably start out. You want to run everybody down what the fuck Shooting Corner Invitational even is? 'Cause we got a lot of new faces since the last one.
Yeah, it's like it's like every stream we're telling people about it because there's so many new people every time. But basically, this tournament is based off of a UFC fighter back in the day named Shoney Carter, and he had kind of that journeyman record. He was, I think he ended up having like 50 something wins and 30 some odd losses and 7 draws, some crazy record like that. And basically, the Shoney Carter Invitational for the UUC is people that had losing records or 50-50 records get to compete in the tournament. Where at the end of the tournament, the winner, and of course it's single elimination, but the winner will face the MMA champion in the main event. But first, they got to go through, I mean, a crazy bracket. Now, typically, with the Shoney Carter Invitational 1 and 2, which was the first one was at UUC 18, and the second one was UUC 35. Those were 8-man brackets because we didn't have as many members and as many active competitors as we do now. And Frank had thrown out the idea of doing a 16-man bracket, and I said, "Well, if we can fill the bracket." At first, I didn't think we would, but we filled it out easy. There's even a ton of backups also that want to be in this tournament. There's a lot of stories that can play out from this one, man, with the competitors that are involved.
Yeah, and it's the last two we did. Glob Squad was the first SCI champion, and you were the champion, UC champion at the time, so he got to fight you. And we should also
Yep.
mention that not only do you get a title shot, but that title shot comes immediately following the murderer's row gauntlet of violence that you have to go through. So this all happens on the same night. It isn't like you get a chance to game plan or whatever. It's like no, you're gonna fight the. In this case, they'll have one, two, three, 4 fights in this tournament, and then they immediately have to get thrown in there with the champion who happens to be Starzo. And so the last two times are 8-man brackets. First time, Glob Squad won, and you were champion at the time. So Glob Squad won the tournament, came up a little short against you. Second time, Blessed won the tournament. He came up a little short against Corey Lashley, who was the champion at the time. This time around, it's gonna be a 16-man bracket, and it's gonna be Starzo is gonna be the prize at the end of that tunnel.
Yeah, and there's a lot of reoccurring themes from the past seasons that kind of go into this one where, like you said, Glob Squad won that first ever SCI, but he was in an 8-man bracket. He's got to really bring it if he's gonna be a two-time Shoney Carter Invitational winner. And like you mentioned, Corey Lashley was the guy that Blessed fought in the second Shoney Carter, and he's actually in this tournament,
Yep,
which is unbelievable because he hasn't had way too many fights this season, but he hasn't won this season.
which
Granted,
is
he's
which is
fought really
crazy.
right. Which, and that's why we do tournaments like these and we do special events for people. There's a lot of OGs in this tournament. There's a lot of newcomers in this tournament, former champions from multiple leagues. Uh, and we've seen in the past, this is something I've talked about in the past, but in the past we've seen where people that are in this tournament, win or lose, will come out of this tournament better than they were before they started it. And we've seen that with Glob Squad, and we saw that with Blessive. Blessive got really good coming out of that tournament. Glob Squad got really good and ended up becoming BKB champion this season. And it's just a tournament that really brings the best out of people, but it also brings that competitive nervousness to it because you know you really have to bring your A game.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this real quick, Pimp. So just checking out this bracket. We've got Glob Squad, who's former BKB champion, also former Shannon Carter tournament champion. He's in this. We've got Corey Lashley, who's former UUC champion. We've got Flo, who's former UUC MMA champion. Then we've got Zips, who's former SFC champion. Like, so to say this thing is stacked is just a fucking understatement.
Yeah, absolutely. And people have been having fun with it. Like Himoth, I know, put out his own personalized betting odds for each of the matches and then the overall winners of the tournament. And there's some people that really like how their side of the bracket looks, but it's gonna be tough because you might have a good matchup, or at least you think you do in that first round, but then you might have a terrible matchup in the second round. And it's just one of them things where stylistically this can get really, really intense. And
Who's the front runner right now? Who's everybody thinking is gonna win?
I think the overall front runner that I've seen a lot of people saying is Glob because he's won it already.
Hmm.
Granted, it was an 8-man bracket. I see a lot of people saying Corey. Naptown was pretty heavy that a lot of people thought could win it. And I think the fan favorite is Lickma, absolutely, in this one.
Yeah, look, Lickma's the unofficial People's Champion for sure. I think it used to be Corey Lashley was the People's Champ, but I think Lickma's kind of taken that title this season because he's just been more active than Corey. And
Yeah,
he's had bigger moments than Corey. He just had I think Corey's at best when he's very active, and he's only had like 3 fights this season. And when he's not very active, it kind of he takes him a little while to get the rust off. It looks like.
right. And we see that with a lot of people too. It's hard to bounce back in against people that have been super active and competing all the time because they're just on top of their game. And I guess I'll run through how we're at least how I want to run this, but I also know how we're gonna pivot in case we can't do it the way I want. So the way I generate the bracket is the way that I want the fights to go. So the first way it happened was on the left side there in the red column. Glob was the first person that was picked on the wheel, and he ended up getting Leafy. So that should be our first fight of the Shoney Carter Invitational is Glob versus Leafy, which I think is awesome because Leafy, embodies what it means to be in this tournament,
Right.
and Glob is a former winner of the tournament. So I think that's a great fight. It's crazy it just turned out that way to start the tournament. And then what we're gonna do is instead of doing the entire red column, we're gonna go over to the right side on the blue column. So the second fight should be Slippy and Lickma. Now I know a lot of times Lickma um, doesn't get back home for a little bit. So if he's not there right away, then what I'll do is maybe like Yusuf and Rue right below him. But I would like to go back and forth. That way, let's say Glob and Leafy fight and Leafy wins, then he advances, but we won't go straight into Sean and Pinky until we get through that blue column. So we kind of bounce back and forth, and you have to wait at least a little bit to see who you're going to compete against. And I think that'll build some anticipation. So the final fight of the first round of the bracket should be, in my opinion, the most anticipated fight for me at least of the first round, which is Zips and Corey, the former SFC MMA champion I Blow Zips versus the former UUC MMA champion Corey Lashley. That right there is a dream fight.
Yeah, and if that's not your most anticipated fight, I really don't know what you're doing with your life, or I understand if you got bias or something because one of your buddies is in it, but like, come on now, Zips versus Corey is insane.
Yeah, it's just that's an unbelievable fight, and one that I never anticipated or thought we would ever see. And there's also some rematches in this tournament, like Tommy and Flo. That's a
Yep.
tough fight as well. And Tommy actually is a runner-up in the SCI. He had a draw with Blesiv in the second Shoney Carter Invitational, and then but they had the rematch, and Blesiv was able to win and advance to fight for the championship after winning the tournament. So Tommy has a lot of experience in this as well. So he's someone to look out for.
Yeah, and not for nothing, Glob was in the last one, I believe, right? So I believe this is Glob's third SCI.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
it
pretty sure he
is,
was
and
in the last one. I haven't watched the last one in a while, but yeah. So you get
I'm
the
pretty positive
experience.
too. I watched the finals.
Yeah, but Glob's one of. I think it's going to be who can adapt on the fly the fastest, man. Because like I'm just looking at these people and I'm like, we got some sprawling brawlers on here. We got some pressure grapplers. We got some back foot fighters. Like we got a little bit of everything on here. And it's going to take somebody that's going to be able to adapt on the fly to a lot of different styles. I don't think we're probably going to see one style just be able to be used over and over again. I think the level of the competition is just going to be too good for somebody to just go, oh, I'm just going to take everybody down and ground and pound them. I don't think we're going to see that. I think it's going to be whoever can adapt on the fly to the potential opponent. And and this could all get shuffled up too. We might have a couple pullouts. I think I'd be shocked if we didn't have a couple of replacements. We typically do with these kind of things. But that being said, I think I'm gonna go on a limb and pick an oddball pick for my favorite to win. I believe is going to, and this isn't going to make much sense looking at his record because his record is not very good. But I do believe that I'm going to give Fent my number one pick here because I see the way that he spars and I see that Fent tries random shit and he really uses sparring for what I believe it's most attentive for is to try shit. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to like, hey, I'm gonna go in there and I'm just gonna try to run around and act fucking crazy and throw this random shit, and then he'll, the next time I'm gonna try to throw a lot of leg kicks or whatever. He really uses a lot of different shit, and I think that in a tournament like this, I got to give somebody like that the advantage over somebody that has a really good style, but is kind of a kind of their own thing. You know what I mean? So it's a bit of a dark horse pick, but I think Fit for my money is my number one. And my dark horse, my real dark horse pick for the SkullTank is a Rue's gonna come in here and fuck up everybody.
Yeah, Rue, just had his first match. He actually fought Glob Squad, and he gave him a really tough fight for your first competitive fight. And I know him and Leafy. I've seen Fent in there training a lot. Pinky's training a lot, and yeah, he's definitely a guy that could go in there and shock everybody as kind of a name that's not super well known yet. That could end up fighting for the championship in that same night. In his second event, that would be huge for him. And there was a good question asked here in the channel or in the chat by Lasered. Said, "Does the tournament have damage resets each round or continuous damage?" Yeah, the damage is gonna reset because we aren't gonna do one weight class, and we're making sure that a lot of bugs are fixed and everything like that, so we can hopefully it'll run pretty smoothly. It has in the past, so. But yes, it'll be random weight class each time, so someone could end up getting like heavyweight every round of the bracket. I mean, but like you said, Frank, with that styles matchup of like Fent where he can kind of switch his style, I think that in a match like this because you can't fight that same style against every single person, and especially not in every single weight class with every character. And somebody that's going to be able to switch up their style and find a way to win in each round, that's really going to play a big factor. And I think you hit the nail on the head with Fent. He's a guy that could definitely do that. Um, I think a guy that is pretty slept on also is Sean. Sean just had his first debut of the season, and in my opinion, he looked really good. So he's got Pinky in that first matchup, and I think that's a really good fight as well. I think Pinky's been leveling up a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if any person in this tournament is able to come out on top, honestly.
Yeah, the more I look at, I just go around and look at the bracket. I'm like, man, I forgot about this person. I forgot about this person, and it's like I can see a path for so many people. Even somebody like Yusuf, who hasn't been super active in the league, but I spar with Yusuf all the time, man. He's very skilled, and he's very tricky And if you spar with him a lot, you know what a lot of the tricks are, so they're not that effective against somebody that he might spar against all the time. But I know a lot of these people haven't probably played with him a lot, so it's like I could see him getting these tricks off on a lot of people. And he could definitely get it done. Like clearly, Zipser Corey could get it done. Flo could get it done. Tommy could just fucking be eating wrestlers alive with the fucking intercept knees the entire time because obviously he's won this thing before. Naptown, he could go in and just kind of out veteran people, you know what I mean? Just land a couple jabs, shoot a takedown, just kind of meat and potatoes. Everybody. Zach's been a fucking killer lately. Like you said, Leafy has looked like he's been hitting different levels each time, and if the fact that Rue is an MMA fighter in real life, and how enthusiastic he and smart he is, and the fact that he's linked up with Pinky's team, I just love all of that, man. I think that's gonna be I think they're all gonna level up big time, and somebody like Rue, I just got to think that he's already that good. He's got a martial artist brain. He knows how to get better at shit.
Right.
I really see him being just a super fucking dark horse in this.
Yeah, and that's something I credit a lot of just my play style is from my experiences with fighting in real life to my play style in UD3, which is why I love the game so much because it's so realistic. And I think one big story in this that kind of gets overshadowed almost because there's so many matches and matches that we don't know what it's going to be in the next round is who is the worst matchup for Starzo? Who scares Starzo the most? And I know I've seen Starzo saying that Corey Lashley scares him the most, and that would be very interesting if Corey's able to win this entire tournament because that's who he lost his championship to was Starzo by a pretty razor close decision.
Right.
And the one thing I do think that favors against Corey Lashley, I think he's better in 5-round fights than 3-round fights. He always comes out in that 5th round like an animal, so he's gonna have to bring that if he goes into the deep waters into a 3rd round, he's gonna really wanna bring it. And the exciting style of Lickma, like, Lickma can put anybody's lights out, man, and we're seeing how good he actually is on the ground as well. Even in that loss to Ant the other night, I mean, he out-grappled him. He wasn't able to out-damage him, but he was able to out-grapple him and
Yeah, and
reverse him and
he
take him down.
survived that fight, dude. Like, look at him look like he was out of
Yeah,
that shit 2 minutes into the first round, and he fucking he stayed his stubborn ass in there for the entire rest of the fight.
absolutely. I mean, I I've been telling everybody I wanna see Lickman and Corey Lashley. I wanna see that so bad, and the only way we're gonna see that is if both of those guys advance into the semifinals because they are on the same side of the bracket.
Yeah,
And,
Lickman's got Slippy as his first out of the gate, man. Slippy's a fucking killer, dude. So like, I mean, I kind of forgot he was even in this just because he's like up there by Lickman. My eyes just keep getting drawn to Lickman. But yeah, you're nuts if you don't think Slippy's got a good chance at this shit either.
right, and Slippy is somebody that he is the only guy in this tournament actually that does have a positive record, but he hasn't won a fight in, like, 5 fights, and to me, it still represents the Shoney Carter as it's his first season, and he's like what 6-4-1, and Shoney Carter had a record like similar to that
Right.
with the 50 wins and 30 losses. So to me, it still makes sense, and he's a guy that I think is getting slept on as well. And it would be interesting if he was able to win this after all those losses and fight Starzo because both him and Starzo love going forward and then just hitting you with these big shots and putting you down. And that pressure of Slippy and Starzo, if they were to clash at the end of the night, would be pretty interesting to see.
Um, yeah, that would be nuts. I'm gonna have to just I'm kind of trying to think how we're gonna add Starzo to the chat here because you and I are in the we might have to jump over to the UUC lobby
Yeah.
because I didn't even think about that. So let's go ahead and jump over there real quick so we can bring Starzo in.
All right, that's fine.
Where's
I'll hop
our
over there, guys.
yeah? Hold on just a second. Can you hear me?
I hear you. And we are now joined by the UUC MMA champion, Starzo. Starzo, I want to know who in this tournament do you foresee being the favorite to win it all? And also, who do you think is the hardest matchup for you?
I think Corey Lashley is still the hardest matchup for me throughout this whole thing. But if I had to guess, maybe Flo and or Corey. I could see maybe a Pinky. Pinky could slip in there because he's every now and then he pulls up a really great performance. So I think he's a sleeper pick. He has to be my sleeper pick for this whole tournament, definitely for sure.
Yeah, Pinky is he kept saying how he liked how the bracket looks for him and he believes he can get the job done and make it to them finals. One guy that hopefully I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to make it, but I'm not entirely sure is Raz and Raz is actually pretty slept on as well, and I think him and Naptown is going to be a very interesting fight.
Unfortunately, the main thing going against Raz, obviously the ping, him being from Australia and all that. But yeah, I do think he definitely has a lot of potential.
And something that's, like Frank talked about with the former tournaments that we have had, where me and Glob Squad, when we were both in Pimp Stars, had to fight each other, and we were teammates at the end of the night, facing for that championship. We see a reoccurring theme there with Zach and Fent being in the same team, having to fight each other.
You got to put that aside. Got to win this belt, or got to try to win the belt. Take it off my hands at the end of the night, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's gonna have to put it, whatever likeness they have for somebody in this tournament aside, and even the respect that they have for them, they'll have to respect their skills. But if I was in this tournament, I would be looking to just dominate and have the least amount of, you know, um, time to see how I'm fighting from all the other participants. If you go in there and clean somebody's clock in the first round, there's not a whole lot to study. And for guys that are going to decisions or having long, tough fights, which I'm sure we're going to see just because the competition, there's going to be a lot more to study on those guys than somebody that's just running through these brackets.
Yeah, there's a lot of different strategy this kind of tournament versus like a Grand Prix where the damage carries over too. Because like a Grand Prix, you really got to think about, hey, not only do I have to win, but I got to not take a lot of damage in the process of this. And you don't have to do that necessarily with this kind of tournament. This one, dude, I almost like it better because we can see them they can empty the tank every single round
Yep.
if they have to, and they don't have to worry about, oh man, I really just got to play defensive this round and maybe just try to be boring and take the guy down because you can't fault somebody for doing that in a Grand Prix. You got to win 3 or 4 fights in a night and then keep your damage carrying over. So I think it's kind of better this way for what we're doing. It's just going to be full bore on the gas.
Yeah,
If it was a
absolutely.
Grand Prix, I think it would favor guys, that wrestle a lot like Flo or Naptown or stuff like that. I think it would definitely favor that.
For
And I
sure.
wonder if we'll see some guys that don't wrestle as often trying to wrestle in this just to secure rounds. There's a lot of different game plans that we could see. You could see guys that are just trying to secure rounds and win decisions. You could see guys trying to wear people out, go for submissions, and guys that are maybe going to the body more, maybe trying to get that first round knockout. And, you know, just overall, I think, like we mentioned earlier, the competition is going to rise everybody up, win or lose in this tournament. And man, it's going to be exciting. Now, I do have to say this: the only fights that are going to be on UC 55 are going to be these fights because it's going to be, I think, 14 or 15 fights at the end of the night,
Yep.
counting the main event for the championship. So
Which is 5 rounds.
typically, right, which is a 5 round fight, and typically we do other fights with the SCI, but that's because it's been 8-man brackets, so there's been a lot less fights and more time to be able to squeeze some other people in there. But I have a feeling that this one's going to be pretty tuned into, and I have a feeling that everyone's going to be real excited for the SCI. Man, I know I am.
Yeah, so we had a question from Abbas. So I believe we're starting at 4, right? We said we're starting earlier.
We're going to start an hour early.
Yes, we're starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The last round of the SCI is only going to be 3 rounds still, I believe, right?
Yes, the main event of the tournament is still going to be 3 rounds, and
Uh,
then
the fight against Starzo, the title fight, which will immediately take place afterwards, that's going to be 5 rounds.
yeah, absolutely.
So think about how many rounds somebody could potentially have to fight in that night. So you're talking.
Oh,
It's gonna be rough. Definitely for timing for some people. It's gonna be rough.
So they could end up fighting as 17 rounds.
yes. I mean, that could be
That's
very,
hard, dude.
very, yeah, and then to be able to keep, because you might be on fire in the first round, but then in the second round you're just, not feeling it. I
Yeah,
know
you you get a
I've been
little
there.
yeah, you get a little lazy on spinning the stick and fucking feathering your blocks and shit and not angling out right. I mean, it just takes a millisecond in this game, and next thing you know, somebody flying knee your ass or whatever. So I mean, it's to stay that focused for potentially 17 rounds is fucking crazy.
Absolutely. It's going to be a long night for sure. I mean, but these fights are just so exciting. I'm just trying to think about, well, if this guy wins here, and if this guy wins here, they might meet up here, or in the semis, or in the quarterfinals. It's just absolutely stacked, man. And I want to be, like I said, I won't be surprised if any one of these guys wins. Frank mentioned Rue. I think that would actually shock a lot of people, but it wouldn't be too shocking to me.
No, not at all for me either. I think me and you both saw a lot of the same stuff when he fought because we know how tough Glob is, man. And he lost the fight, but man, you could have definitely made a decision that he won that. This is his first fight in the league, man, and we got to talk with him a little while afterwards. I found out he's a MMA fighter and he's also very talented and smart dude. And he just his enthusiasm, I'm like, oh, that enthusiasm's fucking scary, man. Because I once had that a long time ago. And it's like when you talk to somebody and they're that enthusiastic about something, it's like, oh, dude, they're not gonna fucking stop until they're fucking wearing the gold.
That's what we like to see. That's why you're in this tournament. That's how you end up in this tournament for sure.
Is there a fight star show that is the most anticipated for you, just from the first round of brackets that we see?
Like I said, Corey Lashley, I would like to get that win back. Well, not get the win back, but I think the first time I fought to the death with him, so I'd like to get that. Try to put a stamp on that.
I think you
But
meant more of
a
like that you're
flow, a
looking
flow's
forward.
beaten me a few times, so I think that's another one
I
that's in the
think
cards for me.
I think you meant more of ones that you're looking forward to watching.
Oh, definitely
Yeah, yeah,
Tommy and Flo. Tommy and Flo, Zips and Corey, Zach and Fent, my top three.
Zach and Fint's gonna
yeah,
be interesting, dude.
yeah. That's the thing too. That's more of a striker versus grappler match. Fent definitely, his strong point is in the striking, and Zach's strong point is in his grappling. We're gonna see a lot of that, and we might see some guys that kind of potentially cancel each other out if they're both wrestlers or both strikers, and see guys kind of mix up their game plans. And man, yeah, that Zips and Corey fight to me is unbelievable. I was so happy when we were generating the brackets there. They were the last two left, but when it was getting closer to it, we all kept saying, "Imagine that's Zips and Corey," and that's exactly what we got. So the generator knew what we all wanted to see for sure.
Oh man, Papa Nap said stars. The only name that should be leaving your mouth is the man about to take your chip, Papa Nap.
Oh,
Okay.
now that would that
All
would
right, Unc.
be that would be a throwback if Nap is able to win this entire tournament and fight Starzo, because I think he was like Starzo's second ever competitive fight in the SFC.
He was,
And he
and
was,
I did get that win back in the UUC last season. But yeah, I'm a much different fighter now. Completely different.
Yeah, I forgot you guys did fight in UUC, like season 1 or 2 or something.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of callbacks and storylines that could come out of this tournament like that. The rematch with Tommy and Flo, a rematch with Slippy and Lickma, and then you got them wild cards, Yusuf and Rue. Like nobody, I don't think anybody can really call how that one's gonna go down.
Ne-
And
I think Pinky's definitely the sleeper pick because he's just a veteran now. He's now the veteran. He was that guy coming up, but he's got a lot of experience now.
Yeah, Pinky, dude, he's when he's on like when he fought Nap, man, like he really had to dig deep on his takedown defense and whatnot, and then um like it's when we see him like he beat Tommy the other day, like I've trained with him forever, so I know how good he can be on his best day. He's just not always on his best day. So
There
if
was
we
that one exhibition. He gave me some work.
Yeah, he's very good, dude. I think he's got probably the best straight right of anybody I've ever played with. Like he will just find that fucking even if you beat him, he's gonna catch you with that thing a fucking couple times. So it's like you just really have to be on guard with that. And I think largely too, it'll come down to what weight classes.
Yeah, and that's like we talked about the weight classes being randomized. That could really benefit or hurt somebody. So people are gonna have to be really smart with their picks, and you are gonna be able to use the same character multiple times throughout the night if you keep getting that same weight class and you're able to pick them before
Yep.
your opponent. But we do not allow any mirror matches, so no mirror matches allowed. But you could use the same fighter many times, and that might end up benefiting somebody if it just turns out that way for them. But it's really the luck of the draw.
Rue just joined up the chat, man. What's up, Rue?
Yeah, what's happening, Rue? Yes, what we're talking about. We're talking about the SCI, man. We're talking about that tournament you're about to be in with 15 other killers.
Yeah, and
And I
he's definitely got his work cut out for him. And but dude,
That
I'd
right side
I
of the bracket is a
I
lot
was
harder
just
than
gonna
the
say,
left
dude,
side.
that
I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, I mean, it could end up being not like that though, you know. I mean, but the smart money would say the right side of the bracket is a fucking scary forest compared to the left side.
It's
But
got two former champions in there.
he's
yeah,
got three. He's got Flo, Zips, and Corey. And the red side of the bracket only has the former BKB champion and Glob Squad. So yeah, definitely on paper the more stacked side of the tournament. But like Frank said, maybe that left side might end up winning it at the end of the night. You know, you might see some crazy fights on that blue side, and then whoever makes it to the finals on the red side cleans their clock. So it'll be very interesting.
because I
I
mean,
think somebody that's being slept on is Leafy, man, because Leafy he's been training like I've never seen him train, and he seems to be improving with each fight. So once he hits that ride of momentum, I mean, this could really be the night for Leafy.
when he's a smart dude, man, he's making his own MMA game and stuff. So I mean, smart people like that, they bring a different element of something to it. You know what I mean? They some people just have a computer brain, and he might be one of those guys that has a fucking computer brain. He just has to really figure out how to put it together with this. But if you think about this for a second there, right? So Zach just fought Flo. Like, you know, I mean, we're talking about how scary that right side of the bracket is, and rightfully so. But Zach just fought Flo, and Zach was coming on and kind of winning there at the end. It was a very close decision. So I mean,
Yeah,
we got people on this left side of the bracket that we know can give the fucking business. We've seen it historically to some of these guys on the right side of the bracket. So I'm not, even though on paper I'd say we'd have to for sure say the right side is better. It doesn't mean that that's the way it's going to shake out.
absolutely, and yeah, I actually thought that Zach and Flo fight could have been a draw. I mean, Zach dropped him 2 times in that 3rd round and had Flo very tired because Flo tried to finish him in that 2nd round and kind of threw everything at the wall and had no gas left in the tank, and I have a feeling we're gonna see a lot more matches play out like that
And then we
with how
we
competitive.
saw Whitey and Slippy go to a draw that night, right? Was it Slippy he fought?
Yeah, and that was pretty controversial. A lot of people thought Whitey won, a lot of people thought Slippy won, but it ended up, being a draw, so nobody could really be mad at the end of the night with that one.
Yeah, it was
Slippy
a
could also slide his way up the bracket. I'm not gonna lie. That's another name.
Yes, I mean Slippy was very highly ranked this season before going on that major skid he's been on, and
he got that
That
being
somewhere
right
able
he
side
got
is
that
definitely looking really stacked now. It's
he,
crazy stacked.
he got that Sunwave curse, man. Like, so how many people have we seen where they're on their way up and then Sunwave beats them and then they're just never the fucking same again.
yeah,
He's that Neil Magny test, you know what I mean? It's like if you can't beat
Hmm.
Neil Magny, you fucking may as well go back to the fucking minor leagues, you know what I mean? And like, but if you can beat Neil Magny, then then you're a certified top 15 guy, and like that's what we kind of seen with Sunwave.
absolutely, and just like we've been saying, man, this is gonna be so exciting, and I know everybody's gonna be real into it. We got some other things that we're also working on. We've been as a staff as a whole, I would say we have not worked this hard in a long time. I
I
mean, there's
think this is
been
the biggest event in U.U.C history
I
at this
agree.
point.
yeah, it very well could be the biggest event in UUC history, and up until probably UUC 60, which I'm sure will take the cake.
Yeah, I think 40 was the biggest thing we've done up until
Yeah,
this point,
40
and
was
this is big.
tough.
This feels bigger than 40.
Yeah, the only card this season I would say generated as much hype as this one is when all the OGs came back, Naptown, Zips, and Job, and that was
That
kind
was
of the
awesome.
fun.
That was such a moment.
Yeah, that was I think it was UC 52. The boys are back in town, and that was but that was pretty spontaneous event
Yes.
where this is drawn out and everybody is hearing about it and knows about it, so it's gonna be tremendous. But yeah,
Who did Job just fight at the last card?
he fought. It was Zach Shark. The last one he competed on was Zach Shark, and
Was
Zach was able to upset him.
Yeah, that's right, man. He looked Zach is a fucking problem. I'm telling you. I definitely think that the right side is on top for a reason. But I mean there it, would it I will not be shocked if the winner comes from the left side. We'll put it that way. Like I said,
Yeah,
I already casted my vote for. I think Finn's gonna win the whole thing. And but it uh I mean it could be Pinky, it could be Zach, it could be any one of those fucking guys. Reyes might be in Australia right now training his ass off. We don't know.
yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be shocked if Raz was able to get pretty high up in this tournament
Yeah,
where
I think the winner's coming from the left side as well. Wink, wink.
Yeah,
there
you
we
were.
Good
go.
luck,
I don't
Pinky.
know if you were listening the whole time, Pinky, but Starzo said that you were his kind of dark horse to win the whole thing.
Oh, really? Appreciate it, man. What's up, buddy?
That left side of the bracket, I would say favors you a little bit.
Oh, what?
There's a lot of good matchups for you in there.
Nah, bro.
Um, Man, I just had a thought or question in my head that but I cannot remember what the hell it was. It was something important too. Anyway,
You're getting old.
I've been old, brother. I'm getting older.
And we got to credit the guy that came up with this idea to begin with, who I just saw get in the chat. Skull Tally Klitschko, man. He is, in my opinion, one of the best minds for just coming up with some crazy concepts. And this has been, in my opinion, by far the best concept he's come up with. And it's something I don't think we'll ever get rid of.
Yeah, I think this, if anything happened to this fucking league, I think this fucking event fucking saved us in every fucking way, shape, or form. This is like
Yeah,
our Royal Rumble, god damn it.
it is,
We got
dude.
we got this, and
Last,
then whatever's at the fucking end, we got 40, 60. That's our fucking WrestleMania.
absolutely. But this is why I say we're on the road now to UC 60 with kicking off with this event, and it is very reminiscent of like a Royal Rumble esque type deal because in that second SCI, Tommy and Blessed were both guys that backed up that weren't supposed to be in the tournament and ended up being the finals of the tournament. So
That's funny, isn't it? That's really weird how it works out.
That's why
a-
it's really crazy because we don't know who's gonna pull out, who's gonna step in. It's gonna be a massacre.
Well, even that we did that one tournament a long time ago, and you were the one you weren't supposed to be in it either, Pimp, and that kind of like started your whole renaissance.
yeah, there was a
You had like you had a bad record. It was like you
yeah,
were like 1-4 or some shit. You weren't even qualified for whatever tournament we were doing. I don't remember what it was, but then you
they
ended up.
were it was the inaugural MMA tournament first, I think, and then I ended up winning it and becoming the champ. And then it was the kickboxing. There was a number one contenders kickboxing tournament that I wasn't supposed to be in that I got thrown into, and I ended up winning, and that's how I went on to become the double champ.
So
I've had really shit luck with tournaments. I think I won the finals of well, I didn't win the finals. I won the it was like a Muay Thai tournament for Pepsi, and I slid in there, or he climbed his way up, and
I
I had to
remember
release
Yeah,
that.
somebody or some shit.
right. Yeah, that was the Muay Thai tournament in season 2, and yeah, these tournament brackets are hard, man. There's no easy route really for anybody, and it's gonna bring out the best in people. I'm rooting for Lickma, man. Lickma is my fan favorite. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah,
Viva la France.
tournaments are a completely different skill set
Fiber Orange.
than just being good at the game. Like it's just like in jiu-jitsu, tournaments and stuff. It's like I'm more interested in doing a super fight against one guy than I am about going in and fucking having to do a bracket with fucking 12 dudes in it. You know what I mean? Because like in my opinion, you don't really get to concentrate on a game plan. You know, but I think half the fun is like game planning for one person or whatever. When you're
Right.
just entering these tournaments or whatever, it kind of just comes down to like a generalized game, one size fits all game plan, and being able to adapt on the fly and that kind of thing. And that's where you see kind of like a lot of weird metas and stuff come in.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are going to have to adapt on the fly and try to study their opponents. But the overall guy that they should be studying is the MMA champ at the end of the night. Because Starzo's been running through people in 1 round, 2 rounds. And you do not want to win this tournament and get ran through in 1 round, you know?
One, the crazy thing is that's what I was gonna say a minute ago. I couldn't remember is that, dude, this is just the people that can't catch a break. You know what I mean? That's what this tournament is for. Like this ain't got D. Jared in it. This doesn't have Infantry Inc. This doesn't have artists. Like it doesn't have Hamslinger. There are so many just motherfuckers. You know what I mean? That's how deep the pool is nowadays. And it to me it is just crazy. Where we got 16 people that can't really put it all together. You know what I mean? To make like
Man,
a
Jared would have fit right in on this tournament, though. That would have been a great chance for him to get his rematch with me.
for sure. But yeah, he's unfortunately he's just beat everybody's ass that wasn't named Starzo this season, you know. So, um, but yeah, the season's still quasi young. You know, we don't have we'll still have with 5 events. Maybe we'll do another fight night or two in there. But for what this is, dude, I don't know if you could get a nastier bracket with 16 dudes in it right now, especially without really dipping into the top 10 guys.
Yeah, there's nobody that's ranked. Actually, that's not true.
Yeah, Flo is, I think.
Flo is.
Yeah, but
Because he was 0-3, but then ended up winning 3 fights. So yeah, Flo is the only ranked guy in this tournament. Let me check his rank real fast. I think Zach
Is
might be
Slippy still
ranked
ranked?
as well.
Slippy, I don't believe he
No.
is.
Well, Flo is actually very highly ranked. He's ranked number 3rd in MMA. So
Tommy and Flo are ranked. They're the only
Tommy's number
two.
6. But they
Wow.
had a comeback of a season kind of where
Right.
they were losing a bunch early on and ended up
Yeah,
still being able to qualify
Yeah,
and get a
Flo
big
lost his
win.
first 3 fights. I don't know how many Tommy lost in a row, but probably about the same.
Yeah, Tommy had a few tough losses in there, and Tommy's a guy that he usually doesn't sign up for a whole lot, but he always jumps in as a backup, and he's
Right.
always a very exciting backup. So the fact that, and I've seen him sparring a lot too, actually, the fact that he's super engaged, and this is going to be the best version of Tommy I think that we've seen.
Yeah, Tommy's really hit another gear this season, dude. Like, just you and I've sparred with Tommy forever, man. And like we've seen how good he can be in spars, but then sometimes we'd watch him compete or whatever, and it was just like people would kind of like pick him apart with like certain little metas or whatever. And now he's onto that shit. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So it's like a lot of that shit doesn't work with him anymore. You know, you're not just gonna body shot him to death and win a 3 round decision against him like a lot of people have done, or you're not just gonna take him down. Like he knows how to get up off his back now. He knows how to hit reversals. He knows how to properly defend body shots, and then he's still got all his nasty knees, and obviously his striking is insane. So
right. I can't wait to see the predictions for each fight as we go through. I'll make sure I'll get every prediction for these fights. I'll definitely be doing a lot during that stream on Thursday because for each person that advances, we're gonna put a line through for the person that lost through their name, and then we're gonna advance the winner into the brackets, and then I'll be posting those as we go along in the Discord. So
Don't
for
hit the wrong
people.
winner, because I have not bet on anything since you hit the wrong winner that one time, and I fucking don't care anymore. I've lost like 5,000 points, and I have not cared.
the world means nothing to start right now.
But those, we've seen a lot of in the last, I would say like 5 or 6 streams. We've seen a lot of participation in the chats and the predictions, and I think, like we've been saying, especially if we can get a little promo package out for this event potentially, which I'm gonna have to work
That would be
on.
sick.
Yeah, which will be tough because we'll have to go back and get clips of like every single person and
Yeah, that would be fun. I've never been in a promo package before, so
yeah,
Give
it'll
Peaky his
be
chance.
those stars
absolutely
though, bro. I'm not gonna let you down, bro.
I hope you let me down. Don't win, please.
Why? If you played me, you would win. It would be easier for you.
I guess. I guess
Well,
that's one less fight with Corey,
um,
the fucking Tasmanian devil.
You got you got a better record against me, bro.
Yeah, I think so, but
I've only beat you one time
sometimes you
and
give
beat
me the
Big.
biz.
Shit, sometimes I give everybody the fucking biz.
Hey,
yeah, Pinky's beat everybody once for sure. One thing, I don't want to spill too much tea, or I'm not going to take anything away from for what we're doing, but just I will say, um, if you guys that are new here, especially and stuff, man, please spread the word to even people that don't even really give a shit about this kind of stuff. They might be interested in something like this, man. Like, and if you're gonna showcase something, if you're gonna introduce somebody to something like this is the time to introduce them because this is just gonna be a wild fucking thing. Everybody likes a tournament, dude. Like I've randomly watched fucking volleyball tournaments and shit on, because it happened to be on ESPN and you just get drawn into that shit. I didn't give a fuck about volleyball, but I've definitely sat there and watched like a couple tournaments before. I will also say
Absolutely.
that we've got other big things that are going to be coming up after this. This is obviously the big thing that we're focusing on right now, but there's going to be some other shit that we're going to drop that's going to drop during the broadcast of the Shoney Carter Invitational, and you're not going to want to miss it, man, because it's going to be a big fucking deal. It
Yeah.
could make this look like nothing. You know what I mean? It could
Right.
definitely eclipse what we're doing with this, but
Damn, so I'm excited now.
yeah, Pinky
Oh
don't even
yeah.
I
know what it
wanna
is.
I
Yeah.
wanna know what the fuck's going on.
A lot of people don't know what we got in store, but we got some big things in store. And
Shit, and just regardless, bro, we got so many fucking people here now. This is the time. Just if y'all want to show anybody anything, show them the fucking mod, man. The mod is unbelievable. No one can touch the UUC fucking mod.
Not even
yeah,
a little
One,
bit.
not even a fucking little bit. Not even with their left ball sack.
And it's so cool because we've had just random people we've never met before, and they'll just come in here and just be like, "Listen, I really just like what the fuck you guys are doing. I like the mod, I like the scene, I like your events." And it just really means the world to us because we've spent a long time kind of fucking harvesting this, plowing this field and trying to make the land fertile and shit. Now
the
it's like
numbers have been the best they've ever been on the channel. I mean,
absolutely.
it's crazy.
I think they're just all fucking Starzo fans, and you got all your VR chat people watching all the events. I think that's what that is.
I don't. I haven't plugged this game on VR chat, but I probably should. I probably could get some people to watch.
Yeah, we're
yeah.
huge in the virtual ratings.
We have we have
The
seen a
virtual world.
huge we've seen a huge influx of new competitors or fans. Some people just like tuning in and they get the game for themselves and they play by themselves and they like tuning in and sometimes eventually you'll see those guys come in and compete. I think Rue was one of those guys. He had been talking
Yep,
in the chat room and he was like, just give me a little bit of time and I'm gonna get in there and
Yeah,
now
look at
look where
him,
he's
man.
at. Now he's
He's a
really
little
good.
fucker, man. He's gonna be a little guy coming next season. You see these guys that got bad records right now, and they're at SCI. Wait until next season. They might be the fucking They might be the fucking champ.
absolutely.
Absolutely. That's what we
Yeah,
talked about with Fent is that he's pretty reminiscent of like Hemmoth in a little bit of a different way because Hemmoth was where in that first season where he was a killer in spars, but then he would just get roasted in competition. Where Fent is he's a killer in the spars, he's a killer in competition even when he
Killer and
loses.
fucking everything. Man. Fucking warrior.
Right. And definitely if I had to go with who I think are probably the top 3 guys to win this tournament, I'm going number 1, Corey Lashley. I'm gonna go with Corey Lashley just because of his experience and what we've seen him bring to the table.
Shut.
But
I'm in
I
the fucking
also,
tournament, and I would say Corey
well, I
be
also won't
number
be
one.
surprised if Zips was able to beat him and advance. I think number 2 is Glob, being the former SCI winner. I mean, that's a lot of momentum on your back from previous seasons to carry into this one, and just being comfortable in that tournament format. And then I think I'm going with Lickma. I'm going with Lickma for third, man. But I'm hoping he wins it.
look my
Fiber
rules.
orange.
Fiber orange.
Well, he said in the chat there he joined during the generating of the brackets, and he said that Slippy is dead. That's what he said. So he's very confident in that first round fight.
I think his daughter or something was even saying it too.
That's
Yeah,
so
his
cool,
daughter was
dude.
going. His daughter was going. Let's go, Lickma. Let's go, Lickma.
Oh, bro.
That's awesome, dude.
This is what we love about the U.U.C, man.
Yeah, there's
Oh
times,
yeah,
there's so many times where like we'll just be like, man, what the fuck are we even doing this shit for? But then it's like, then we have shit like that happen, or we have like the people like Rue pop up, just like random people, and then it's
yeah.
like, okay, it's this actually means more to more people than I thought it did.
Yeah, now we're on the road to 600 members in the Discord. It was just a few months ago where we didn't even have 100 members in the Discord. We finally got that 100 and we were super happy. And then it was just this huge amount of people just coming in and joining the server. It seems like every single day we got people joining the server, and every event, at least 10 new people are joining up. So I think by the time that we get to season 4 and season 5, we're going to probably have twice the competition we do now, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think we hit 100 members in August, which is
Right.
fucking crazy, dude. Like we had no members for like
Yeah.
8 months or something, dude. We just managed with what we had. You know what I mean? It's like if you grow up poor, it's like, dude, you're just gonna have to figure out how to make fucking food out of not a whole lot of shit, you know, and like that's kind of what we did. But now it's like you look at a lot of these names and it's like a lot of these names in this tournament, they weren't even around last season, you know?
It's fun to see the guys coming up, a lot of new people coming in, next generation of competitors.
Yeah, and they all
Guys
got
that could
different
see
styles,
being
man.
champions.
You're seeing a lot of them bring, like Frank said, they have so many different styles, and you're seeing a lot of new guys that are just super technical,
Yes.
and it's kind of crazy. And there's so much competition that there's no one, unlike kind of what we've seen in the past. There's no one real meta that everybody's doing because there's so many guys with different styles, and it's going to be very interesting. I think this is a huge opportunity for Iblo Zips to knock. He's had the time to knock some of that rust off. He could come in here and win this tournament and try to be one of the very few. He may probably be the only SFC and UUC champion if he could pull it all off.
Yeah, dude, and you think about because even his last fight with Haha, he wasn't looking that great in like the earlier rounds, and then he started putting it all together like towards the end of the second round, and then third round he kind of come out and was really putting it on Haha. But it's like you could definitely see it was a ring rust issue with Zips for sure.
Absolutely, and like you mentioning Haha reminded me of all the people that we have as backups.
Right.
We have like 5 or 6 different people that are ready to back up in this
Good.
tournament.
And they're
Good.
And
I
monsters.
mean, we're definitely bound to have someone pull out, I feel. I hope
yeah,
not, but
I have a feeling we may see it as well. Which is why that I only see maybe
I
one or
just hope
two
it's not
guys
none of the
that
opponents I fucking play.
Glob's calling into work for this shit, dude.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got Thursday off. I'm ready to get a fucking title shot, man.
Oh, that was crazy. Pinky for the title shot would be, Cinderella story for
Shit,
sure.
if I have to fight Glob for the 5,000th time and knock him out in fucking less than 13 seconds, fuck it. That's what I gotta do. I gotta do. Shit,
Everyone,
that's what I gotta do.
everyone's gonna have to do what they got to do in this one for sure. And like Frank had mentioned, and we talked about earlier, with people that are going to be able to adapt to the styles, I think that is key in this tournament. And some people that jump off the page to me that would be able to do that is Fent, Tommy, Zips has a very well-rounded game. So does Corey. And we've even seen shadows of that with Naptown as well, where he can really grapple you and out wrestle you and beat you up there, and also strike with the best of them. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they all play it out and what characters they pick too. I'm very excited for the picks.
Yeah, every time I look around this thing, I'm just like, oh yeah, I could see a path for that person. I could see a path for that person, and I think that's what really makes this super exciting because it's like,
Regardless of everybody has a slim chance or a high chance, I think everybody has their way of getting into the final.
yes,
Everybody has a
Yeah,
chance.
there's definitely a path for everybody. I could see, there's not bad matchups for Glob there. The matchups for Corey, they're tough, but there's a lot of familiar ones for him. I think it's good that Lick was actually getting a rematch to start and not somebody that he's unfamiliar with Slippy, because they had a killer fight this season.
They did.
Tommy and Flo is the same type of deal. Flo knows what Tommy brings to the table, and Tommy knows what Flo brings to the table, and those are two styles that definitely mesh well together. You know, Flo's
Yeah.
aggressive wrestling and ground and pound, and Tommy's nasty striking and
Well,
intercept
and
knees.
yeah, I was gonna say Flo likes to shoot wild sometimes, and Tommy loves throwing that fucking knee, and we saw it in the first fight. So we'll see if Flo can kind of clean it up just enough to get it done, you know, because it don't have to be perfect all the time. It just has to be perfect once.
Exactly, and that is the thing, and that's kind of what I feel we've seen with the champ here, Starzo, is he's not really doing a whole lot that's different from what he's always done, but
Mm-mm.
he's cleaned up his style to where he's really like perfecting it and on his run right now, and that's something that we could definitely see with Tommy and Flo, or potentially Naptown as well. I think the well-roundedness it could play a big factor, but I also think we very well could possibly see somebody with one style dominate the whole tournament.
Flo just asked. He said, "Wait,
If
wait
I
a
had
minute,
to
I fought
guess, it'd
Tommy."
be Flo. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Flo seemed to have forgot that he fought Tommy.
Yeah, I
I
don't think
mean,
it was this season.
we probably ran all these fights at some point. I feel like.
Yeah,
I don't
there's
know, bro. There's a lot of matchups on this card that I haven't seen before.
yeah, there are a lot
Like
that
Zips and
are
Corey,
new.
like that fight's gonna be amazing.
That's incredible. That's an
Fenton
incredible
Zach.
matchup. Fresh matchup.
Yeah, Raz and Aptown. That's new. Sean and
I've
Pinky's.
never, I was gonna say I've never fought Sean before.
Sean's very good, man. So like said, it's nobody on paper you would be like, okay, the easiest fight on here is Glob versus Leafy. But like I said, I don't know if that's even necessarily the case. Like Leafy's been in every one of his fights. He hasn't got dog walked by anybody.
You
And now
never fucking know.
he's with a great camp now, you know, and
I'm about
he's
to
been
say,
training
yeah,
his ass
he's
off.
getting better every day. He's getting better every day, man. All I gotta say is watch the fuck out for that guy.
Right, I'm telling you. So
A lot of it
Regardless
is
if it's
that
the SCI or
stylistic.
not, next season he's gonna be a fucking stud.
Absolutely, he's been training hard, and for his first round of the bracket to get Glob, it sounds really bad. Like everybody was saying, "Oh, poor Leafy, he got the former, SCI winner." But stylistically, I don't think that's a bad fight for Leafy. And that's what's going to play out in this tournament a lot. Is it's not always, there's no one guy that's overall better than everybody. There's stylistic matchups, especially in MMA.
yeah, we
It's
saw
good to hear he's been busting his ass, in the training room.
and Glob had a brand new guy in his last card against Rue. A lot of people thought we were just throwing Rue to the wolves, and on paper we were. But like I said, we're not getting these guys that don't know how to use the controls anymore. You know, if we get people like that, we'll send them over to UFL, let them get a little seasoning first. Everybody we're getting out now, dude, like we see brand new guys, and they already got footwork. They've already know how to feather a block. They already know how to fucking do pull
Shit,
counters. They already know how to
shit, they already
reverse.
know how to do shit on the
Just
fucking
just the
ground.
level here. The level here. You train with the best in the world.
Like
Learn
2
a
years
lot.
ago, the fucking noobs that we had 2 years ago are way different than the people that we have now.
Big time, dude. You remember like the SFC days when it was just like
Bro,
the
oh
whole
my
meta
fucking
was
god.
double
You could
legs
literally
and
go back
overhand
and watch,
rights.
yeah.
I don't
You could
want to go
literally
back and
go
watch
watch,
that.
yeah.
I
You could
really
literally
don't.
go back and
That's
watch the
awful.
SFC fights, bro. They're totally different than these fights. Fucking it just looks completely different.
Even
Just
our season one, because today I watched back the main event with Blessive and Tommy of the second SCI, and the main event with me and Glob, and I even think just me and Glob are way different than we were then. So even our own styles have changed.
yeah, yours has constantly been evolving. Globs hasn't like changed like in a big way, but he's definitely cleaned some shit up. You know, he used to have some. He was definitely just kind of more of a striker first, but he would leave himself open for easy takedowns and stuff, and it's not really like that anymore. Now he's definitely thinking about the whole big picture. And
Absolutely.
he's hitting takedowns himself sometimes, you know. Same way we've seen Pinky start wrestling a lot more too. Like if you're gonna beat these guys at the very tippity top, man, you're gonna have to mix in some. You're gonna have to mix everything up. You're not just gonna get it done throwing 1-2s and running away and shit like that. People are gonna eat you alive with that.
Yeah, and I
Absolutely.
just
And
feel like exactly what Pim said about Starzo. I just feel like I've been cleaning. I feel like you guys might be able to see it too. The last 2, 3 fights, I look a lot more cleaner.
Yep.
I feel like I don't feel like I'm just going out there throwing shit, fucking throwing myself to the wolves like I'm a brawler. I'm still who I am as a fighter, but it's way more cleaner.
Right.
Yeah, you've definitely been adding some tools to your game, and I do want to go around the board here as we start to get to the end of this and ask everybody. I guess we're gonna start. We'll start with you, Pinky, since you're in the tournament.
All
If
right.
you had to predict right now, the prediction, who wins the SCI?
Well, if I had to pick, looking at the list, Corey and Zips, them two. I think whoever wins that fight is gonna go to the final four. So it's really hard. There's a lot of guys on this board, but if I had to pick, I'm gonna go with either Corey or Zips. And then my dark horse, I'm gonna go with Lickman, man. I'm really been liking Lickman, man. He's whooped my ass,
He's
but
been looking incredible. I don't know
he's
what
been
it
looking.
is.
He's been looking
Something in that French water.
unbelievable.
Well, he almost put my lights out, and I guess Starza will ask you next. Final prediction: who do you think walks out of this tournament and fights you in the main?
I'm locking
Already
it in.
hit it.
Corey Lashley. Corey Lashley. He's the most dangerous. Always a Tasmanian devil. Can't never root against him.
That's a great pick.
But my real pick is me.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Of course. Now, my pick, it's so stacked. This might be a little bit more of a pick with my heart and not with my brains, but I'm going with Lekma. I'm going with the big old dark horse, the fan favorite, the people's champ from France. I want to see
People's
Lekma.
champ.
That word. That's a
I want to
great
see him
name.
not only win, I want to win that championship. But could you imagine Lekma's champion, Frank?
No, it'd be amazing.
And Frank, I guess we'll go with you. Who, if you looking at this right now, final prediction, who wins the Shoney Carter Invitational?
Yes, leaving my heart out of it because if it was my heart pick, I'd have to go Glaber Pinky probably. But it's like just looking at it, just thinking of it strategically, and somebody I think that is able to fight a bunch of different styles very well and is able to adapt on the fly. I got to go with Fent Zombie.
Yeah, that's a great pick. All of us had different people in mind who we think's gonna win. That just goes to show how stacked this is.
Yeah, if I was gonna say anybody else, though, it would be Fent, because Fent is really all around, and I think he can beat fucking anybody.
He's creative,
At any given
very
time.
creative.
Yeah.
And he can get in your head too. He'll be taunting you during the match. You know.
Yeah.
He'll get,
Weird. He don't touch gloves with you either.
no, neither does Lickma. Don't try to touch gloves with Lickma if you're in the tournament. Don't try to touch gloves with Fent.
That's an uppercut coming your way.
I wouldn't touch gloves with nobody. If I was in this tournament, I'd just be going straight to it. No glove touch.
Yeah, when Fent first joined the league, he was sparring with me and Devin, and fucking he just ran out and sucker punched Devin, and Devin just rang him out like a fucking rag. It was like, don't ever fucking do that again, motherfucker. All right.
Hey, man.
Yeah. Anybody got
Go ahead,
anything?
Frank.
Well, we're getting ready to wrap this thing up, and that pimp's got to get out of here. Anybody else got anything they want to touch on before we head out?
Real quick, I just want to say we're closing in on the end of my legacy. I'm not going to lie. I don't have much more left in the tank. I said I had a lot left in the tank, but after this SCI, I definitely want to be a part of this SCI for sure. This is a special moment. A big card. Huge card. So I had to be a part of this.
We appreciate it.
And I got a few other things I want to do.
Oh yeah, Pinky. Any last words, Pinky? Oh, I don't think Pinky's here.
Nah, he probably took domestic violence time.
Well, I just wanna say, you know, everybody buckle down, get ready, and we're gonna see you there this Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The SCI Shoney Carter Invitational 3. I'm ready for it.
Let's fucking go. We'll see you guys on Thursday.